Hi, my name is Jacqueline Smith, and if you have came across this video, either you've been introduced to it of some type, or you have gotten curious and you just want to know a little bit of more information about what Beachbody coaches do and all that kind of jazz. So I have been in the business 3.5 years, and I really had no plan whatsoever in my life. I actually graduated high school and had no idea what I wanted to be. I had always known daycare, so I started working in daycare. Found out I was pregnant a month after I graduated high school and got married the month after that. So it was a very wild summer, as you can imagine. And being young and pregnant and married, we started out very, very poor. And all of our furniture, even our cars, were hand-me-downs. Everything literally was. We had a very small apartment. Once we finally got an apartment, for a long time we had nowhere to even live as a couple. And we struggled. And if you know what it's like to be married young, to start out young, you know what that's like. And so we always just worked, never really got ahead. When our son was born, he actually had to go to the NICU unit because of his underdeveloped lungs. And that took a very big strain on our relationship, on our budget, everything. So about that time, along with struggling financially, we were also struggling with my husband's addictions. And he has a alcohol and drug addiction. So with everything else going on in life, we also had to deal with this. And that was a big, big part of our lives for a long, long time. Our bank accounts would bounce all the time. It was basically rare if our accounts did not go negative before we got paid. There were many times where we would have to borrow money, and that was just kind of how life was for a long time. So eventually we got over all that, and I started noticing again that our accounts were bouncing very, very bad. I had no idea what was going on. And at that time, my husband came home and he said, "I'm addicted to Oxycontin and cocaine." And so at that point, we had to go into survival mode. He was fired from his job, and I was a dental receptionist at the time. So I was making about $20,000 a year, if even. We had one child at that time, Trey, who was about 4 or 5, and we had to file bankruptcy. We pawned everything that we owned just in order to get back above water somewhat. Filed bankruptcy, pawned everything just in order to protect the house and build our way back up. So at that time, we had nothing. There were many times where we lived on literally $50 a week. And there were many times where we could not even go to the grocery store and spend more than $20 that week for a family of 3. It was hard. One year, Trey, it was for his birthday, he wanted a Nintendo DS, and I had no money. And I wound up buying everything that I could for his birthday with no money in the account, wrote a check, and just prayed that it would not go through before I was going to be paid a couple days later. So it was really intense. And we learned a lot. We learned how to budget. We learned how to stay strong with each other. And we learned that we could overcome anything at that point. And if you have been through some kind of situation like that, you know how life-altering it is. So we made through all that. We had a second child a little bit after that. And she is a handful. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, you know how much of a handful Callie is. And at that point, I found insanity. I was young still. I was about 24. And I couldn't go anywhere. We had no membership because we were still very broke. Through bankruptcy, we canceled our Y membership. I wouldn't dare dream about investing money into, a gym because we still didn't really have that much money. So I found insanity on the infomercial, and I watched it over and over and over and over again. And my husband was like, "Jacqueline, you're not going to be able to do that. Do not spend that much money on a workout program you're not going to do." And so I used that as motivation. Bought the program, went all the way through it, loved it, had amazing results from it. It was the best program I had ever done. And that sparked the business. I figured that since I was already sharing through Facebook what I was doing, why not do this? But I wasn't very good with people, did not know how to talk to people, didn't like to talk to people. There was no way I was going to be able to sell to people, because who's going to buy from me? And, being a high school graduate, nothing going for, like, who's going to take me seriously? And so after thinking about it and praying about it and talking about it and reading about it and watching videos and reading blogs, I finally said, I have to. Like, there's this feeling in my heart where I have to do this, and I don't know what it is. And I know that I'm taking money out of our little bitty savings account that we have created, but I have to do it. And you have to have a little bit of faith in me. And even though nobody had faith in me, nobody believed I could make this work, I just wanted to make $100 a month in order to pay for a vacation, to save up for a vacation that we could never afford to do on our own with our incomes, because we were still making about $40,000-$50,000 a year. And so I just jumped in. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I was a mom, and other people had kids and didn't have time to go to a gym, didn't have the money to go to a gym, and didn't really know what to do. And that's what I started sharing with them, was that opportunity. And in turn, being able to create a ripple effect, I have created a 6-figure business in 3 years. Now think about that as a couple who has no education whatsoever. Ken had quit school when he was, I think, in 9th grade. And I was a high school graduate that I couldn't tell you one thing that I learned besides to hang out with a bunch of guys and do whatever I want. How we created a 6-figure business just by being us and showing other people that you don't have to be perfect, and it's okay if you have lived life a little backwards, because we all have. And that's what makes us strong, are those things. So now, 3.5 years in, like what I said, last year I was able to fire my boss. I decided that whenever I started making the same amount of money as the dentist, it was time to leave. And my kids were going to daycare at that time, or I now have 3 kids, and I couldn't do that. I could not take my kids to daycare 10 hours a day just to go make money that at that point was going into a savings account, because I was making so much money with Beachbody, so why not come home? And a couple of months ago, my husband, who had built up his Beachbody business as well, decided that it was time for him to come home and be a full-time dad, because he has always worked very, very hard for us. And even through the tough times, he would work 2 or 3 jobs, and he decided it was time to come home. So we're both now full-time Beachbody coaches, living the dream and being able to go on vacation and do what we want whenever we want, and be a mom first. We get to take Trey to school in a couple of weeks. He goes into middle school, and we both get to drop him off. And that will be such an amazing feeling to us. So how you get started in this is you contact the coach that sent you this video and ask them, say, I want to get started. Let's do this. There's no better time. I don't want to sit here and wait anymore. And pick out your pack. You get a workout, you get 30 days of Shakeology. You don't keep inventory. You don't do parties. All you do is be yourself, work out, drink Shakeology every day. We want you to feel good so you can share it with other people, because that's what we do. We don't sell, we build relationships. And then you get added in all the groups. It's $15.95 a month for your coach membership. To start your business, it's $15 a month. So think about that as you go to like these stores and restaurants, that they have to put in so much money, and all we want you to invest in is yourself. That's it. So it's $15 a month. You get 25% commission on anything you sell, and then you get 25% discount on anything that you want to buy. You also get team cycle bonuses, along with quarterly bonuses, even monthly bonuses, depending on how advanced you get. So really think about this after you watch this video, about what your dream job is and your dream for your family would be. And I can't wait to have you get started.